What if I told you that one of the most walkable cities in the US also assisted in the development of the entire nation? Neither New York nor Washington, D.C., but it was Philadelphia, nevertheless. Prior to this journey, I had been all over the world. Large cities, historic cities, noisy areas, and quiet ones. I had strolled through the streets of Tokyo, London, and Rome. But for some reason, I had never visited Philadelphia. This year, that changed. I was taken aback by Philadelphia in a way I wasn't expecting. It wasn't aged, but it felt old. Not hurried, yet busy. Not loud, yet proud. In this city, everyday life mixes with history. Locations where great ideas began are just a short distance away from where people have lunch. I didn't go with friends or have a set route. I came by myself. With just 10 or 12 days, a decent pair of shoes, and a backpack, I walked most days. I took a cab when my legs gave in. I went on tours when I desired more in-depth information. I went to a park or a little cafe when I needed some quiet time. This episode is about that initial visit, about strolling through brick alleys at first dawn, about discovering beauty in unexpected places and getting to know people who are passionate about their city. Here is the question. Can a first-time visitor who has seen so much of the world still find a city famed for its history to be new? Step by step, let me take you to Philadelphia. It was a clear morning when I arrived in Philadelphia. The air was sharp but comfortable. From the station, I took a taxi to my little hotel close to the old city. The fare was about $15. The driver laughed a lot and spoke quickly. It seemed like a positive sign. I headed out right after leaving my suitcase at the hotel. No rest. No plan. Simply walking. Walking around Philadelphia is uncomplicated. The streets are level. Blocks are small. Signs make sense. In that sense, it reminded me of areas of Berlin. Not just cars but also people. Independence Hall was my first stop. It's impossible to miss. Red brick with white trim. Strong and simple. You must have an allocated time ticket, but admission is free. I had made an internet reservation for one. It takes roughly 20 minutes for the guided tour inside. It seemed odd to stand in that room. Even though I had visited a lot of well-known places, this felt peaceful. Calm but heavy. The Liberty Bell, which is free, is next door. Smaller than I was expecting and more cracked. For pictures, people line up. Instead, I watched from a distance. Sometimes that tells me more. I went for a walk for the remainder of the day. I went to Elfreth's Alley. It is among the nation's oldest streets. Tiny houses and cobblestones. It had a cozy feeling and felt like a tiny lane in Edinburgh. Eating was simple. Food is treated seriously in Philadelphia. Naturally, I tried a cheesesteak. Mine cost $12. It tasted great and I ate it standing up. I developed a rhythm over the following few days. Walking in the mornings, tours or museums in the afternoon with evenings spent eating or just observing people. One morning, I took a stroll along the Schuylkill River Trail. It was free and quiet. I was passed by runners with rowers cutting through the water. It was similar, but it was less crowded than the streets in Paris. I caught a taxi to the Philadelphia Museum of Art one afternoon. About $18 was the cost of the ride and it cost $30 for entry and was well worth it. The building itself is huge and was calm on the inside. At first, I entered without taking the well-known stairs. I returned later and slowly climbed them. From above, the view was serene and wide. One day, I went on a walking history tour. It lasted 2 hours and cost $35. Our guide was humorous and knowledgeable. She talked about more than simply dates. That appealed to me. The city felt more human because of it. Tours are a good way to keep things in balance when traveling alone. You receive stories and after that, you are then alone. Eastern State Penitentiary was another place I went. It cost $19 for entry. It had cold walls and long halls and a strange quiet. This one felt more personal, although it was similar to old Eastern European jails. You felt the weight of time in the jail. I once took a taxi to South Philadelphia to check out restaurants. Each way cost about $14. The streets were louder and more alive. I went to the Italian market, where you are free to stroll and it is very colorful. It reminded me of markets I've seen in Spain, but with a Philadelphia twist. Not every minute was busy. I spent some afternoons sitting in Rittenhouse Square, which was free. I watched kids, dogs, and chess players. The park has a quieter atmosphere but similar to small parks in New York with less hustle. I made plans ahead of time for longer trips. I visited Valley Forge National Historical Park on a guided day tour. The park is roughly 25 miles from the city. Transport by bus was included in the $95 tour fee. The land was quiet and wide, with green areas and cool air. It allowed room for thinking. Although it felt very different from the city, its meaning was linked. On another day, I traveled alone to Lancaster County, which is well known for its Amish traditions and is about 80 miles away. From 30th Street Station, I took a train. The ticket cost $25 each way. This time, there is going to be no tour. I walked. I watched. I kept a distance. It made me think of the rural areas I've seen in some parts of Ireland. Straightforward and relaxed. When my feet told me to stop, I took a taxi back in the city. Most trips cost between $12 and $20. I never felt in danger. I stayed alert. Similar to other places I have been. The most striking thing to me was how real the city seemed. Philadelphia doesn't make an effort to charm you. It lets you to get to it. It's more relaxing than New York. It feels more open than Boston. It has a younger attitude than London. I strolled by myself in the late afternoon on my last night. Windows come to light in homes and bars. People laughed. I was impressed. It felt like 10 or 12 days was enough time to observe and enough time to feel. Philadelphia was quiet about what it offered. However, it rewarded me much more than I expected. And I decided that I'm going to return to this city.